Hey guys, cool blown my back. I'm Rick.
I'm Maggie.
And we're back with Fruits Basket. Last time on student council centric episode.
Yeah, we got to know. We had kind of a heart-to-heart with Manabe and Yuki, which was kind of sweet. And I think the fact that Yuki is getting all these storylines with kids at school only further proves that he is not to be with Toru in the future, because his arc involves more expanding his horizons and getting to know and connecting with people. Because him connecting with Toru would basically be like that'd be too easy.
Maybe. But in the Bob Dylan song Isis, he did travel the world and then he came back home. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it'll be student council focused this time. I think we'll mix it up. Possibly with Utani and Kurano.
Oh yeah, we need to get Hera on the bus.
Yeah.
The bus of fists.
I'm curious to see if we ever bring those two into the fold of knowing about the Zodiac.
I mean, who knows? Who can say Hanajima doesn't already know? Like, waves.
She does send something off about them.
And Uotani, could she really be stopped one way or the other? Like, if anything, it just gives her more power.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think she could punch an ox.
Well, let's find out.
Oh, wow.
That episode was too much.
There was a lot that's going on. It's like you feel like, oh, it's like each episode's like each chunk, but this felt like we talked to like a lot of people.
We figured out.
Catching up.
We figured out why Haru calls Shigure Sensei.
Yeah.
I just wanted to weep. And then Grandpa was so sad, and then Toru, like, remembering her mom. It's like, I need to go see him. Don't take my mommy too.
Yeah, it was definitely like the box and the button and the ball theory stuff about grieving and such. How the box is a set size, and right after you lose someone, the ball is like almost the same size as the inside the box, and it's constantly hitting the button of pain. And as time goes on, the ball gets smaller, but it can still hit it.
Yeah.
It just feels like hitting the button in the beginning did. It feels like Toru had it hit the button on that one. We followed Yuki quite a bit, and it seems like all his study and trying to pay attention is kind of paying off, because it feels like he's starting to see other people's connections.
Yeah. And also, like, he's feeling guilty. But, like, I believe that it's important to take time and heal yourself. Like, make sure you can stand before you let others lean on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can also see how you would feel guilty, too. Like, doing that and seeing the people around you struggle, especially Haru, who has done so much for him.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, he also kind of has to think of it from Haru's perspective. Like, what's Haru been wanting for him? Like, what does Haru want the most? He wants Yuki to be happy, to take care of himself, to worry about himself and stuff. And so Yuki doing what he thinks is selfish is actually doing what Haru wants for him the most. So
I don't think Rin is doing what Haru wants the most. Like, I think that she's protecting him, but I think it's hurting him more than maybe Akito could. I'm still not sure how she ended up in the hospital.
Have you seen that scar on her back?
Yeah, but how'd she get it? I thought they said Akito, like, it wasn't Akito.
Yeah, but like, I mean, horses IRL are prone to many, many damaging effects.
I think they give the damaging effects. More than they receive them.
I mean, like, a horse breaks a
They're
leg,
like
like, what do
tanks.
you do? I don't... And considering, like, they've talked about how, like, when members of the Zodiac get, like, really ill or sick or tired, like, they
stressed.
switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's got to be someone in the Soma. There's a veterinarian for every member of the Soma spirit group. Like,
Well,
veterinarian
Tori
for seahorses.
seems to be the primary physician for all of them.
Yeah, but who takes care of him? He's a seahorse! That's what it's like.
Well, he had his wife.
Imagine if he was sickly.
That did. Because his wife was in the medical field too, right?
She was his nurse.
Yeah. So she could have.
The seahorse! No! Imagine if the doctor got sick. It's like surely you've seen one of the episodes of Star Trek when, like, Bones gets sick or something like that. It's like, there's no safety net. If he goes out, shit goes downhill fast.
Yeah, there were plenty of doctors on the Enterprise.
Sure. But does it matter? Oh, the ending. I realize we're jumping around like such, but I don't know if it's obvious or something, but I noticed in the ending the proportions of some of the characters seem different. They're drawn older. It was really obvious with me with Kyo, because the torso to head to body ratio, it was much more like Shigure's.
Sure. So you mean the ED?
Yeah, they're all drawn differently, and
I figure that's just a stylistic thing, though. Like, I don't think that's foretelling into the future.
well, I know, I figured that, but like I also, there was one scene, I forget where it was, where it's like, huh, that boy's looking broad.
Hero didn't look any older.
Yes, he did. He's got longer legs. Look at him.
Right there. You did.
He's starting to look like, you know, how Evie's starting to look all thin-legged and gangly.
Yeah,
He
you're
looks
right.
older.
He is older.
Look at his knees. He is 80% elbows and knees now.
Yeah, it could be stylistic, or it could... Like, I don't know how long this show goes, if it goes past high school,
Wow.
or if it ends. And
If it goes past high school, we're going to have some sort of a climax then, because there's going to be a fight.
well, and like the manga, the anime might end before the manga. I'm not sure if the manga's finished. I'm not sure.
Don't remind me of the fact there's a manga. I'll be tempted.
There's almost always a manga.
I know, but like I try to ignore that fact so that I'm not tempted. Like, how much is the full series?
Though I think the animes that aren't based on mangas tend to have the better endings, like Cowboy Bebop and Code Geass, which you haven't seen.
The animes that outrun their mangas?
No, the animes that were never based on a manga.
Oh.
Because a lot of the time what happens is, you know, they'll outrun the material and have to end it in a different way.
Yeah. Which would be... Yeah, I mean, it's just...
Or they'll just completely run out of money, like His and Her Circumstances. And they just gave us a slideshow for 2 episodes.
That was painful.
I need to read that manga, because I need to see what happens.
Yeah. Oh.
Hopefully they remake that.
I'm interested to see... Well, I mean, Haru seems to be one of the few people that knows about, or at least notices, and he knows enough about Yuki and the whole situation to see what Yuki's doing and recognize it for what it is, with like I want to call it school defense force because of
Student council.
Manabe. Yeah, but the student council.
Sure.
And to see that struggle and see what Yuki's doing. And I imagine it was just like a wonderful, like, when he knew that Yuki was doing that, it was probably like really wonderful. But do you think Machi and Haru meeting like that was just a way to bring up the student council, or because
I'm not
Machi's
sure.
the girl that like doesn't flinched away really horribly, and
Yeah.
Is super quiet.
I don't know. Yeah, it was weird seeing her, and I was wondering how she might fit into it all later. But
It reminds me of way like other characters have been, dropped in front of us very gently, and then episodes and episodes later, it's like, oh shit, you dated too, Somas.
yeah, it's interesting seeing Haru like so in tune with Yuki's thoughts, but so far apart seemingly from Rin's.
Who is in tune with hers? Like, she's very mysterious. She's the dark horse. Oh, yeah, I question her methodology. Her purpose, I that's the only thing that like she's got anything going for her, because I have a hard time believing that it is like very selfish.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's, throwing the rocks at the dog so it runs away, right? Like, she's doing everything she can in order to get Haru away, because that's what's going to protect him.
I mean, she also reacted pretty poorly when he mentioned her not being able to stand on her own. Maybe
that could be part of it too.
Maybe this is probably way out there. I'm just imagining. Maybe she doesn't want to be one of Haru's. Maybe she doesn't want Haru to think of her as someone he has to take care of. Like, I realize it's a lot of guys are really attracted to someone they can take care of, and someone that needs them. But maybe she wants their relationship to be more of a partnership, and she wants to kind of grow on her own or be able to stand on her own.
Yeah, I wonder what that flashback was too, of like her not being able to stand on her own. Is it because... No, I guess that's not true. Because she's not the only... Like, they're almost all quadrupeds. But I thought it might be a literal thing of like...
Yeah, I thought like, oh, foals, they can't stand immediately.
Yeah.
But they stand pretty darn quick.
But I don't think it was that. I think it's probably something else. And maybe that scar comes from back then even. Like, maybe she has some sort of...
Maybe her most recent episode or where she was in the hospital isn't connected to that giant.
Yeah, maybe it's some sort of... I don't know.
Maybe she's not just a horse. Maybe she's a Pegasus, and that's a wing
balance
scar.
issue. She's a one-wing Pegasus.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, it's not that I dislike the student council stuff, but I really like this episode.
Yeah. Like, I love Manabe. Like, I want to, at some point, if I don't see that kid in, like, a full, like, mask, superhero, My Hero Academia style, then, like, that's a loss for the world that I'll have to deal with.
I feel like Manabe's only around because Kyo is in sad mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I feel like he's filling that like, antagonistic void. Like...
For Yuki? Oh, you're probably right. That's really clever.
Because, like, Kyo isn't fighting at this point. And...
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, they aren't fighting each other. They're focusing on themselves for once.
Well, I think Kyo is more defeated than focusing on himself. I don't know. He seems to... I mean, his scene with, what's her name? The boar. Kagura. Like, I like that scene, but it didn't seem to change his trajectory at all. If anything, it seemed to reinforce it.
I don't know, because the fact that, imagine, you would have to be thinking about, like, if I'm locked away forever, like, who's going to miss me? Who's going to feel horrible about me? Even if he didn't realize that those would be thoughts in his head before, like, Kagura telling him that stuff would have made him think that stuff and realize, oh, like, I that's something I'm going to be that's some all of a sudden he like even if he didn't realize it was going to be an issue, it became an issue right then. Maybe. I don't know, but I don't see how it could really have like hurt him almost. I mean, when is someone declaring their undying love and devotion for you? Like, I thought he handled it pretty well. I mean,
I thought he handled it well for her, but like for himself, I think he is reaffirmed in that he can never let himself love anyone.
Because it'll just cause them pain later on. But the overarching promise that scene took on was that you can't control, like, when your heart latches on to somebody.
True. And it cut to Taru for Kyo.
Yeah.
In that as well.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up so I didn't have to.
And then in a lot of great scenes in this, but maybe my favorite was Haru and Shigure.
Yes.
And the metaphor of, like, you'd only float if you would just relax. And then Haru coming back and saying, you only learn that after you struggle too much to fight anymore.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't...
That's just great.
I feel like I've said that before. It's like, in this reaction series, like, childhood is made for struggling, for making mistakes, for trying all that stuff. It's made for that sort of stuff. It's supposed to be a safe place for that.
It's like getting out of the egg of the cocoon, right? Like, if you don't struggle and get out of it yourself, like, you don't develop the muscles in order to make you be able to live later on.
Yeah.
I thought that was very poignant.
Yeah. And hearing Grandpa talking about Katsuo and Kyoko. Man, it sounded like he was just about to die right there.
Yeah, it did. But then he started snoring.
But still, when an old person talks like that, you gotta start worrying.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is, but he looks pretty old.
I mean, you've had family members die and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been like party to it closely, but I've been like peripherally, and I remember that just reminded me of like what my mom told me one time it was Dad, when he was with his dad and Grandpa said something about like being tired and being ready, and like a week later just kind of and yet like as a child I was like, well, I mean, Grandpa's always been old. He's always like had an issue with pneumonia and stuff like that. He's had a pacemaker since I can remember. It's like it seemed like nothing had really changed hugely for me as a child, like, 6-7 years old or whatever. And so the biggest change, it seemed to me, was that he had made a choice.
Sure. No, I mean, most...
So that scene really worried me. I was like, oh shit!
Most of the deaths in my family were quite sudden.
Yeah.
But...
You tend to go out with
not all. But yeah, just...
Members of my family tend to live a great... longer than you would expect.
Overall, really great. So sad, but I'm hoping from the depths of this despair, we will have a brighter day.
I mean, we've been promised Shigure annoying Mayuko, which sounds amazing. Especially if she's kind of,
Well, yeah.
working on Hattori a little bit on the side.
I wonder if Shigure is going to drag him there too, for some reason.
For some reason.
Maybe he's there for Yuki or Kyo or something. So I doubt Kyo's dad is going, and like I'm not sure about Yuki's mom. Like he gave the household servant the permission slip, so I assume she'll come.
I don't. I'll be honest. I don't think. I thought that scene was very pointedly pointing out the fact that no one would need to come for Kyo because Kyo has no future. Like, that's what those meetings are about. It's like to talk about their future and everything.
Sure. True. Maybe Sensei will come. Sensei believes in a future.
Yes. I mean, that's what Sensei would do. I feel like he did that before, where he just kind of appeared in an episode and Kyo was just surprised and such. Like, oh shit.
Next time I grant someone a favor, I'm going to be like, you have to call me Sensei.
He had to have been doing that in jest.
Oh, definitely.
But I like how later on Haru is still using that as like a form of currency. It's like, do you want to call me? Do you want me to call you honey? Like, what name is worth more than Sensei to you? That was pretty great.
No, the whole thing is great. I love this show.
Haru is probably, I've been trying to figure out like who in the Zodiac is like kind of the most, not protected, but confident and sure and stable. And like for a while, I was
Do you remember
around.
Dark Haru?
I mean, yeah. But that's also a bit of like that could be just like kids growing up. It could be. I mean, and for a while I've been on basically Momiji.
Sure. I think Momiji more than Haru.
Yeah.
Because of Dark Haru.
Yeah. Okay, you've got a point with Dark Haru. But I think Haru's also been a lot more just day-to-day pushing for other people's happiness for a lot longer. Like Momiji just is like an area of effect spell.
An air purifier.
An air purifier, which is amazing, and I love him to death. But Haru digs deep and doesn't give up, and like he just keeps pushing and pulling to try to make people happy and help them and stuff. Take care of them.
Mostly Yuki and Rin, I think.
Well, they're like the closest in age, right?
I mean, Kyo is...
Yeah, but Kyo's the cat.
The same age, and
Kyo went off to his sensei.
Kagura's around the same age.
Yeah, she's focused on Kyo. I mean, I don't know. It just... The fact that Haru always came to visit Yuki, just... Despite all of the attempts to, like, isolate all of the members and separate them and to stuff them inside their own little heads as hard as this curse can, they've still managed to make, like, little tiny connections. And connections in childhood, even. Like, when they're most susceptible to being hurt, they're also most susceptible to making connections and such. So, it's very sweet. And seeing Yuki remembering back to when Ayame said that you're so fragile and so kind and such, it's like, he had something, It was great, really great. I loved it.
I loved it too. Love this show. Let's watch more.
More.
Thank you guys so much for watching our reaction to Fruits Basket. If you want to see up to the next 4 right now, you can over at patreon.com/blindwave. You can watch along with us full length as well. Just make sure that you have your own footage to do so. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.